So this is the link that we have, the commonality we have, which extends, which goes back to 2000 years. So it was all initiated by trade. Then it was the who followed, then Pallavas, the Cholas, and the medieval time merchant associations, these groups that carried forward the trade. And in Cambodia, right from the earliest times when we get the inscriptions or the when we take iconographically, the earliest temples, the remains that we come across in the 5th and the 6th centuries, till about 12th and 13th centuries. And at the same time, when we take into account the counterparts in the Tamil region, the evolution we can both compare and not compare. Till about 1300s, it was the same. And after 1300s, there was no habitation in many of these areas. And in Cambodia, when we have continuous habitation, a continuous tradition, a continuous temple building, Cambodian architecture, temple building, it stopped somewhere in 1300s. After 12th century, there's a big vacuum. And only after 1860s, when French occupied, French colonization took place, when Cambodia became a part of French Indochina, later excavations, French archaeologists started excavating, and many of the sites, as I said, we are very familiar with Angkor, but there are around 4,000 temples, small and big, in Cambodia. And all the temples, including Angkor, it was after 1860s, after the excavations, that we have come to know. So for 500, 600 years, many of these temples were forested, buried, and it was only after 1860s. And after that, from 1920s, Cambodia faced so much of art loot. So there was very rampant art loot from the country, which was aggravated in 1970s again, when Khmer Rouge was in power. So when Khmer Rouge, when Pol Pot was in power, among the 8 million population of Cambodia, some 2 million were killed. So which is like 1 in 4, 1/4 of the population was killed. So again, the restoration, it kind of restarted. And during the civil war, during Pol Pot's regime, the art loot was even more rampant. And even today, even yesterday, we had a news of repatriation of some 13 Cambodian idols back to Cambodia. So later, after 80s, after 90s, the Cambodian government is entering into agreements with other countries, and repatriation is taking place. So this is the difference between the Tamil region and here. We have a continuous history, continuous habitation, continuous temple building, and an evolution that is going on. And another region which had discontinuous, which had a point when it stopped in the 1300s, and then kind of it had to be excavated. So I think with this background, I think we'll go to the exact topic of this iconographic connect of both Tamil Nadu and Cambodia. Next, please. So as I mentioned, the ancient maritime trade routes, whether the Silk Route or Spice Route, it connected Europe and Asia through different networks. We had markets, port towns all along, and the traders of Tamil region, they brought so much of wealth, and the Tamil kingdom's wealth, overseas trade was a major source of wealth. And medieval times especially, we come across very powerful merchant guilds like Murugan, Manigramam, and Tamil mercantile donations. As I said, it was whether the script or the religion or the architecture, it was first taken to Southeast Asia by the merchant community, by the traders. So it was not the royal patronage or the kings who took the first step. So the evidences from South China, southern part of China, from Guangzhou region, we have temples which have inscriptions, bilingual inscriptions, which mention about merchant donations to temples And similar in Cambodia, in Thailand, many of the temples were built by the merchants, the associations there. Next, please. So the most ancient kingdom that we come across in Southeast Asia is the Funan kingdom. So this is the Mekong Delta, which comprises of the southern part of Thailand, Cambodia, as well as Vietnam. This constituted the Funan kingdom. This kingdom is an Indianized kingdom, which fully flourished because of trade. And it had important cities like Okyo, Angkor Borei. Okyo is right now situated in Vietnam town actually. This town is excavated and it's getting excavated also. The things are getting excavated. Okyo is mentioned by Ptolemy and in his map, which was roughly made in 150 CE. This is marked in his world map as a port in Southeast Asia after Straits of Malacca. And Angkor Borei is right now in Cambodia, which acted as an agricultural hub because this entire region is a delta region of a mighty Mekong, very fertile Mekong River's delta. Mekong River, this region is very fertile and the water resource is so much that even today, 1/4 of the world's freshwater fish is caught in the Mekong River. It's such an important river system. And in the ancient times, we have references of this entire Funan kingdom having water canals and networks connected to the port cities. So we have the Indian Ocean, we have this Bay of Bengal, and when the ships cross the Strait of Malacca and enter into Gulf of Thailand, all along the coast, the coastal towns, cities, and the merchandise went deep into the Funan kingdom, the waterways. So they had a big water that time. And as I mentioned, Roman golden medallions, Indian pottery, Persian glass beads, goods from Chinese Han dynasty. We all find evidences in the Funan, which is the earliest kingdom. And the earliest inscriptions, whatever inscriptions or writings that we come across in Southeast Asia, the earliest is the Pallava Grantham. So it is the Pallavas during the Pallava regime. Again, the merchants, they took the script there. So when we study the inscriptions in Cambodia, after that is the Pallava Grantham, which the Pallavas introduced especially to write in Sanskrit for the Tamil speaking areas precisely. So this very unique type of Grantham, that is the Pallava Grantham, which is very ornated, beautifully written, that is found in Cambodia. In fact, the largest corpus of Sanskrit inscriptions outside India is found in Cambodia. So we have inscriptions in Khmer or Sanskrit, but the alphabet was the Grantha alphabet. Next, please. Yeah, this one, right? So, Southeast Asian connect. For instance, Patinapalai mentions about Kadaram in Tipun Bihar, the trade route. And 2nd century potsherd, which was found in Thailand, Phuket in a place called Phuket, referring to a sage. And this one left side in the picture, it's a 3rd century touchstone with the inscription Perumpattan. Maybe a goldsmith would have traveled there and left this touchstone there. So even the Pallava Grantham reached Southeast Asia, these Tamil Brahmi characters wasn't there. The trade was different, but the trade existed even in the centuries after the Common Era. So evidences we come across are archaeological, ethnographic, linguistic, literature, and religion. Next, please, fiction. So this bit of geography, why the geography is important in this context is that, in fact, not just in the Indian Ocean region, the entire world history, whether it's the ancient history or medieval history or modern history, it's shaped by one thing, that is the wind of the Indian Ocean region. It is the monsoonal current. Every ocean has winds, it has currents. But something which is very peculiar to the northern part of the Indian Ocean is the monsoon current. And this favored the trade, the ancient, the maritime trade. That, in fact, shaped, we can say, it shaped the entire human history, whether it's the ancient history or medieval history, the quest to discover an alternate kind and geographical discoveries taking place in the modern era, which is the beginning of the modern era. So it's all based on this. Why? Because why this region is very peculiar is that it had two very predictable winds which favored the merchants. So these two winds, which occur twice a year, are very predictable. Either it is the southwest or the northeast. So the traders just have to get hold, catch the wind, and sail to the destination and get back to the place. So it's more of right from the Mediterranean when they cross the conventional route of crossing the Red Sea, and when they enter into the Indian Ocean. It's more of the wind that facilitated the trade right from the Red Sea to South China Sea. So till we crossed the Straits of Malacca specifically, so it facilitated. So that helped in this flourishing trade contact. And the Tamil region, which is located in a very pivotal, which is in a very pivotal position, it the trade the west and the east. And the towns in the Tamil region, it acted as anti-ports, transshipment ports also. Many times user fees were collected, which helped generate revenue for the kingdoms again. So that was a very important aspect. This helped the maritime trade, the monsoonal current. And the Tamil region's expertise in doing this current was actually just named this, even it's identified and named this monsoon. The Tamil regions, the sailors here had fair knowledge about sailing, and even in the usage of ships, it's a big industry here, right? From we had so many different terms to even term the vessel: kalam, naval, kappa, padaku, toni, palimaram. So the expertise in sailing is well known. Tamil merchants' expertise, which with references from the Roman records, from the Egyptian records, and that existed from Tamil region to Southeast Asia as well. So when we talk about art and iconography, there are different ways to approach this topic, I feel. So, how to identify, how to study the architectural similarity or the similarities, the influences in the influences in the temple sculptures and the bas reliefs. So these are the different aspects through which we can study. So, structural temple, the style of architecture, the script or writing, and different iconographical forms. Structural temple and style again. The first point, right from. Can I take this mic? Can I keep it in my hand? So the first point, structural temple, right from the initial temples, right from the initial styles of the Dravidian architecture, be it Dharmarajorata or the Kailasanathar temple or right in the Perumal temple, the earliest ones are very similar to the evolving temples in Cambodia as well, from the earliest ones that you find in somewhere Kurkuk or later. So Since the Angkor is we can call the culmination of Khmer architecture. It was much later. We have so many different styles before Angkor Wat, before 12th century. We have Sambir Prakrit style, had Kulen, we have King. So many different styles of architecture that evolved, and Angkor and Devan are the final classical styles of Khmer architecture. So, from the initial architecture in Cambodia, we find similarities between the Tamil region and Cambodia, whether it is the ones that we see in Mahabalipuram, the tiles structure, or the feel. The style is truly Dravidian in nature and very distinct from the Shikara type of architecture. And the unique geometry and cosmology behind the construction, the Parivara shrines for the sub-deities, the circumambulatory passages that kind of evolved after Pallava and Cholas. So it was all similar. And again, as the script and writing, as I mentioned, it was the Pallava Grantham. Of this in detail. And next is about the iconographical forms of Shiva and Vishnu. Why this? Because, as I mentioned, the foreign photos in temples before from 5th, 6th to the 12th centuries, majority of these are either Shiva temples or Vishnu temples. So, the iconography Saivism as well as Vaishnavism is another methodology to understand this comparative iconography. And the Tamil text literature, because written um, we don't have sufficient written literature in Cambodia. From the inscriptions in Khmer and Sanskrit, we don't have literary evidences. So, since it is comparative iconography of temples, the understanding of the Vijayanagar and Tevaram, what's the inspirations for this iconography and the role of Ramayana. The role of Ramayana that stretches even beyond iconography, beyond temples into every other art from the culture of Southeast Asian temples, especially Cambodia. That is one interesting aspect. And the exchanges. Is this only an influence from this region to the other region, or it is both ways? Is there any influence that we got? So we have this historical event that when Parmeshwara Varman II did not progeny, he sent people to get someone from the descendants of one Vrindavarman, who is a related brother of a Pallava king, Vishnu. So he was sent to find a person to ascend the throne of Kanjipuram. And after Parameshwara Varman II, it was Pallava Nandi Varman who ascended the throne. And historians mention that this Pallava Malla Nandivarman was a 13-year-old boy who came from Cambodia and ascended the throne of Kanjipuram at the age of 13. And who went on to rule for around 60 years, who built the Parameshwara Nadu. And the legend goes exchanges also. So some dispute this that the distant place that is mentioned in the inscriptions in the Perumal temple about Pallava Malla is some other region. And they many accept that it is somewhere from Southeast Asia. It could be Cambodia, some region in Cambodia or Vietnam. And next about the colonization and how many temples were excavated, how the remains were excavated after 1800s, 1850s. Section excavating places which were not habited for around 5-6 centuries. And then about the contemporary art and creation. So all these are helpful in understanding the iconography of both the regions. So the first similarity that iconography that is very striking is the Pallava Grantham that we find in temples. The Pallava script that gives rise to several Southeast Asian scripts. The script that Khmer adopted was derived from the Grantha script. So it is either in Khmer or Sanskrit. The alphabet is Grantham. And the honorific title of all the kings of Cambodia, be it Jayvarman or Suryavarman, it's all Varman. So there is a strong Pallava connect. And as the legend also goes, and it's not actually legend, it is written the inscriptions of Vaikuntha temple about this Pallava Nandi woman coming to Kanchipuram and ascending the throne. So every name of the complaint in the 6th century or maybe it in the 12th century, pre-Angkorian or Angkorian. The title is always Varman. And even yeah, king or a Buddhist king, the title remained the same. So just a few photographs to describe this Pallava Grantham. First is one of the earliest Pallava Grantham from Kudumallur left, and one from Vaikuntha Perumal temple. And the second picture is from a door from Prasad Pravan, a 10th century temple in Cambodia. Another important iconographic connect that we come across is about Karaikal Ammaiyar. Karaikal Ammaiyar, she lived sometime in the 6th century. Um, the exact depiction of Karaikal Ammaiyar uh, in the skeletal form is found in temples in Cambodia. It is in fact only after 6th century Sekula even designates Karaikal Ammaiyar as one of the the 63 Nayanmars. So it was in the 12th century and she lived somewhere in the 6th century. So the temples that were built even before she was designated as a Nayanmar, both in Tamil region as well as in Cambodia is an interesting fact. So the first image of Nadaraja, it's generally accepted that it is in a place called Sivamangalam. During Mahavarman first time, the earliest motive of Nadaraja is seen in a temple pillar around 600 to 630. Um, and in that, it's only the Nadaraja and the person who plays a percussion instrument. But the motive of Karaikal Ammaiyar is the image of Madaraja because it's her desire, as I mentioned, like Aravan, modern baby, and it's her desire to be at the feet of Madaraja. So, this iconography of Karaikal Ammaiyar at the feet of Madaraja was introduced by Chendian Mahadevu. So, in the temples, even this Rajaraja Chola built a Periyakoval, in temples like Koneri Rajapuram, we come across this iconography of Nadaraja with Karaikal Ammaiyar. And later we find in the later Chola temples also, we find in Dharasuram and we find in Gandhik and the Cholapuram and Kokkolam, the iconography of Karaikal Ammaiyar. An interesting issue from Karaikal, and she belongs to a family of merchants, her father, her spouse. So this she was respected immensely that this image had traveled to temples in Cambodia and even some places in Thailand. So in places like Bantes, Mahanshishwar and Battambang, we come across Karaikal Ammaiyar's iconography along with Makara. So this one is from Gangaikonda Cholapuram, and in the left corner we have Karaikal Ammaiyar, and on the right side, Shiva is playing a percussion instrument, and the figure in the right side it is from Bantes, Karaikal Ammaiyar on the left, and another person, a single headed Bantes with actually, the lot of time down the figure in the right one. The temples, this the ones that are constructed in Cambodia as well. So likewise, like Natarajar, like Adal Vallam, we have other iconographical forms of Shiva in Cambodian temples, which are unique to the Tamil region. For instance, this Bhikshadana Murti is not generally found in any of the iconography outside the Tamil region. And even today, we have Bhikshadana Murtis widely seen in temples, Sherin with some festivals related to this form of Shiva, Shiva's gentler version. So this is found in Cambodia. Interestingly, in some of the museum collections in this, we come across very small images of Bhikshadana Murti. So which perhaps could have been um, which could have been at the family altars also in Cambodia. So, other than the deities in temples, we have this image of Viksharamurti in houses and it is commonly found there. And again, Rishabharudar, Ramayana, Dakshinamurti, though these are not majority of the temples in the placement, uh, the usage, it's very similar to the Tamil region. Again, one of the aspects of this Shiva Parvati iconography as a divine couple, Maheshwaran. So it is seen in the relief sculptures, in bronzes as a main. It is usually Shiva maybe seated on a throne with the respective vehicles below. But, it is, they also have other styles and forms of this iconography, like one seated on Kailash as Ravana Vigrahamurti, seated on a bed, and there are different styles. And we find the same iconography all across Cambodia. So one in Kodimbadur, in Newer Kodin, 9th century one. And this one as Punnamageshwara, Ravana Vigrahamurti in this region. And another feature which is very common to both the Pallava and the Cambodian architecture is the narrative bar relief and narrative bars reliefs, which is very unique. Both the concepts of mythology or history, it is narrated extensively of temples. The Arjuna's penance in Mount which is one of the important bas reliefs in the world, of the Perumal temple. We have other points in the temple, we come across the procession, the festivals, the king's day-to-day activities, side of the world, and the other side of the world has extracts from mythology. The same is found in many temples of Cambodia. For instance, in Angkor Wat, we have Surya Varman II's processions, his day-to-day life on one side, extracts from mythology about the Sparkadal scene, Ramayana scenes. It's more like a storytelling, visual storytelling, one after the other. The sequence of events, which is sculpted as stone. This is very common. This is a comparison. This is a commonality between the Pallava and the Khmer architecture. So this one is a this relief from Vaikuntha Perumal Temple, 8th century, and this one is from Angkor Wat. And next is Ramayana. Ramayana, Ramkir is the national epic of Ramayana. The interesting aspect of many of the Southeast Asian countries is Ramayana, more than a religion, it has stretched beyond the story into many other forms. So in Cambodia, we come across monks, even Buddhist monks with Buddhist saffron robes listening to the story of Ramayana. In Indonesia, they listen to India, the largest Muslim country in the world. They listen to Ramayana. It's sort of identified as a culture in the their films, their bands, their music. So, like this in Cambodia, It's not restricted to literature, but it stretches out into every art form. So the themes from Ramayana we find in the sculptures of Pallavas that underwent refinement in Chola art. So in the early extant Chola temples of Pillamangai, Tirunageshwaram, and even later ones at Dharasuram, we have extracts from Ramayana depicted on walls. So the same style we can find in Cambodia. How Ramayana narratives are sculpted on walls, on lintels. It's a very common feature. Um, but certain portions and certain narratives, certain subjects in Ramayana are very popular. For instance, this is Bali Sugrivan battle in Tirunageshwaram. It's a miniature and the wall, which belongs to the 9th century. This is a comparison. The one from Dharasuram is at the left and the one from Bantesri is at the right. So this Bali Sugrivan battle is one of the favorite themes of Ramayana that is depicted. And even when we see the films, leaving this classical iconographic connect, even Teyyam, the forms of Kerala, which is definitely 1,500, 1,600 years old, based on the evidences. Some historians even call it, some historians even mention that it is a continuity of the tribal primitive art form. Teyyam is more than 2,000 years old. And even in Teyyam, one of the very favorite subjects is this Vali Sugriva battle. And even in our territory, this Vali Vadam is very famous. And cards, certain aspects which are very favorite subjects of this Tamil region is again seen in art forms. Um, dance dramas, Cambodian dance dramas. This Bali Vedam is very famous. In Angkor, middle there is the three aspects, in fact. One is the battle between the brothers, Bali Sugriva, and second is slaying of Bali, and third is the entire Vamarasena mourning for his death. All the three are favorite subjects. The three we find in Dharasuram also. Even in Angkor, the Bali slaying of Bali is on a lintel which is beautifully carved, and the entire Vamarasena is mourning his death. So that is a very popular theme. And another interesting comparison is the Makara thoranam. The Makara thoranam is an ornamental arch which is either above the gateway or the archway or above the niche figures, the Devatoshras. So this ornamental arch of the Tamil region is very similar. The ones in Cambodia are very similar to this Tamil region. The arch emerges up from the mouth of one Makara, when Makara literally meaning a crocodile. The apex being a king descends into the mouth of another Makara. So there are striking similarities between the early Chola and Nagara. So there are connections and they will be necessarily the same Nagara method that we find. But the style is almost similar and the inspiration had clearly gone from the Chola temples. This is a Makara Thoranam from the early Chola temple, Thoranam temple, 9th century. This is a Makara Thoranam from Pillamangai, another early Chola temple, another Makara Thoranam from Cambodia. So this is a comparison of Makara motif on the edges of the base. So on the left is Makara motif from Kodumba and Kodu, and on the right is a Makara motif from Cambodia, from Dante's 10th century. So another iconographical connect is about Ashtabhuja Perumal. So generally Vishnu is depicted as four-armed, Chaturbhuja. In iconographic parlance, he is four-armed. But in temples in and around Kanjipuram, there is this iconography that we come across, the eight-armed Vishnu. And Tirumangal, this Pasarans also have mentioned about Attabuyagara Perumal. There is one temple which is which itself is an eight-armed Vishnu, Ashtabhuja Perumal, which is called Ashtabhujakaran. And even in Vaikuntha temple, we have a bas relief which has an eight-armed Vishnu. And in literature, we have references. And interestingly, in Cambodia, we have Vishnu right from the earliest times, from a place called Nadu, which is in the southern part of Cambodia. There is a Vishnu statue. It's called Nanda, Krishna Balarama Vishnu statue. Vishnu is eight-armed, and there are references of eight-armed Vishnu in Cambodia. Angkor Wat is eight-armed Vishnu, which was later converted into Buddha and worshipped as an eight-armed Buddha. And many other temples too have this eight-armed depiction of Buddha. And even as I said, the museum pieces that we come across in National Museum of Cambodia, Mountain Museum, and in the world, you come across very small images of Buddha as Maitreya being eight-armed, as Vishnu eight-armed, which could be pieces and family altars in the Khmer time. So the left one is the Vishnu from Vaikuntha Perumal temple bas relief, and the right is Angkor Wat's main deity, an eight-armed Vishnu. Another iconography that we find is Murugan. So Murugan references that we come across from Telkatium or Tirumurugan from the Sangat literature till date. The different iconographies of Murugan as worked with the or with the peacock seated on a peacock, different iconographies are seen in Cambodia. Some historians mention that it is the form of Skanda that had in fact gone, but the description of Murugan, as mentioned in the Tamil literature, as with the peacock, as with the spear, and as a were god, that we find the influence we can find in Cambodia. These styles during the 10th century, it is the 10th century capital. Then they made some beautiful pieces of Khmer architecture in Khmer. Beautiful sculptures, massive sculptures were made during the Kokir time. Though the Kokir style, it lasted for only about 50 or 60 years. Some of the beautiful pieces of Khmer art was found in Kokir. And then Angkor and one more temple of Bante Samre, which was built on the classical Angkor style. It too has images, and many other temples have Skanda on peacock image. So the left is a bas relief from Tanjavur Periya Kovil in the outer wall, and the right side is a bas relief from Angkor, moving on a peacock or war scene. This is another Murugan on peacock in Mountain Museum. This is a part of Douglas Watson collection. He was an art collector, and he, as an art historian, collected a lot of specimens. But in fact, he from this mood, a majority of the sculptures were repatriated to Cambodia last year, and if this, his daughter accepted to repatriate the few. So last June, some pieces from Turkey. This is again another Murugan and peacock from Turkey, which is part of display in Mountain Museum. So another connect is the guardian lion. So guardian lion, we find all in Pallava and Khmer iconography in the temples, in the corridors, pillars of Pallava architecture, and very similarly in Khmer temples also. The stairways, terraces, There is along the reservoirs, compounds. We have this image. With all the ancient civilizations, the usage of lion as a symbol of pride was used. But the unique usage of lion images all along the circumambulatory passages in a temple or in the stairways, it's very unique to Pallava and Khmer style. And the lion was the emblem of both Pallava and Khmer kings. The flag as well as coins had the lion image. So the guardian lions flanked all along the circumambulatory path in Kailasnath temple, and another guardian lion in a 10th century temple in Cambodia. So another iconography which is very common in Cambodia is the Garuda image. So Garudan is always we come across the image of Garuda in Vishnu temple along the rivers, as a person carrying Vishnu or in an Anjali. He is depicted as a protector. So Garuda, the image of Garuda is very popular in Southeast Asia, the national emblem of Thailand, the national emblem of Indonesia, even the Indonesian airlines, it's Garuda Airlines. So Cambodia, the present architecture has features of even and type of buildings, houses. They have this image of Garuda as a protector deity in Cambodia. And as I mentioned for the Ramayana, certain themes and certain subjects, even from the folk art, folk movement travel to Cambodia. The image of Garuda again. So, for instance, this we have Garudan Tukam, another ancient folk art form in Kerala. So, in temples like Aryangavu, Velankavu in Balkan, every year it is again an art form which is hundreds of years old. So, very similar to the Garudan Tukam. In Cambodia, they have an art form. They call Garuda's Krud. They have a Krud dance. And interestingly, this Garudan Titan is sometime around April, the beginning of the month April. So, Southeast Asia in Cambodia, it's around that time, April 12 to 13. And generally, the Krud performance is done that time. Maybe it's an area of research, but this similarity we can come across about the folk performances in both the regions, and even again in platforms, the usage of Garuda. It's very similar to the folk art forms where Garuda was used in Cambodia. So this one is from Vaikuntha temple. So this again is a collection in Mountain, a Koke Garuda, which is a 7-foot tall massive Garuda belonging to the 10th century. And right side, it's a Garuda from the outer walls of a temple called Priyakan. It is totally, there are 72 Garudas all along the compound walls. So it's getting restored. It's a very massive temple. I think some 35 Garudas are restored and it is still getting restored. So another is the sparkle scene, the churning of the Milky Ocean. It's one of the favorite subjects, and in fact, the most repeated concept in mythology is the Karaikal scene in Cambodia. Even today, the hotel lobbies or in front of buildings, palaces, we have on one side the row of asuras and one side the devas. There was churning the ocean, Milky Ocean. And this theme we find all across Cambodia in many of the temples. And again, key sources. So when we say that this essence of Bhakti was taken to Cambodia from the Tamil region, again the verses from Divya Prabandham, The literary references mention that this had traveled from here to Cambodia, and still it's a favorite theme there. This one is a bas reading from Vaikuntha Perumal Temple. Vaikuntha Temple is a point of reference for many of the earliest events, the comparisons, because later after Malabaram and after Kanchi Kailasanatha temple, lots of references, bas reliefs, sculptures, and the connect that you can establish with Southeast Asian countries is Vaikuntha temple. So this is one, and this one is another particle seen on the lintel of a temple, Bante Samlu. And this is the famous bas reliefs of Angkor Wat. This well is around 160 meters long, one bas relief itself. So we have they're flying down to collect the Apsaras emanating out of the Churning. One side we have the Devas and Asuras, and Thorni, Mount Mandara, and Vishnu mediating the tug. Mediating the tug. And about the circumambulatory passages, this is again related to the structure and style of temples. When we compare the iconography, how circumambulation, the passages from the Khmer monuments, from the earliest monuments, smaller temples to the bigger ones, massive ones like Angkor, we have huge circumambulatory passages, very similar to the Pallava and the Cholas. Maybe they have huge procession to travel with elephants or large number of people. The circumambulation remains the same when we compare the temples of here and Cambodia. It's one from Tanjavur Periya Kovil and another one in Cambodia. And again, another similarity is about the column motifs. So, very detailed columns, temple columns, the patterns of running scrolls, dance, the remembering floral patterns, some from mythology. So, this is very similar when we even see the floral pattern, inverted lotus. Many of the Chola motifs are very similar to the Khmer temple columns. So the first one is from Koranganadar temple, and the next one from Dante Sande in Cambodia. So finally, this one is the last comparison. So this one is actually a monochord instrument, a single stringed instrument. So a group of musicians playing this particular instrument, a panel of musicians playing this instrument, it's seen from the Sambar Prekuk time, which is the earliest style of Khmer architecture, Cambodian architecture that we find. So the same instrument is later come across in the iconography of later styles of Khmer architecture also. And the same instrument and the similar kind of musicians, the band playing different other instruments in Vaikuntha Perumal temple. So this is one area that actually we are working on, and this particular instrument is considered to be the most ancient instrument by the Cambodians. They consider this to be a very sacred instrument, and they play it during marriages and other occasions. But it's very rare. It's not played by many people. Only a handful of people play it. Because a single string instrument with a resonator, which is pressed against the chest, it is nothing but a surakai, that's a piece surakai, but a very specific kind of calabash that they use to make it. And the hardwood that they use is also a particular type of wood. The color is an ivory finish to it, and they do this professionally. And this instrument almost became extinct after 1970s, the Khmer Rouge time. So since almost one-fourth of the population was massacred. Musicians, dancers, and the ones following, I mean, the ones practicing any art forms, they simply left their professions that time. So it was difficult for them. And later in the early 90s, the only existing master that time on Sock book, he in fact taught 4 or 5 students. And this one is one of the remaining masters called Sinat. And he had visited Kanjipuram as well, and he helped us to study about the panels that are in other temples. So this is a very striking similarity that we come across. So this is one point which explains the exchange also. So maybe this could have traveled from the Cambodian region to Tamil Nadu or the other way around. We don't know. But since this Pallava Varman, he was believed to have traveled from Cambodia to here. Maybe he brought in a group of musicians and they played this instrument, and now it's not the same. And there are some interesting instruments in India and the Tamil region now, like the Kimmaram. The style that they play is different because the calabash and the coconut shell or whatever they use it as a resonator, it generally comes at the bottom. So this is the calabash which is pressed against the chest, the resonator, and it is plucked with the right ring finger, which creates the noise. And it's a very a different method of playing this instrument, which is not found in the other folk traditions in our region. So, with this, I end the talk. So, I have taken around 15 comparisons. So, majorly, I just wanted to cover on the influences that are very striking. So, like Karaikal Ammaiyar, which is a very direct connect, and about the bas reliefs, which is a unique Pallava style of architecture, and about the Makara thoranam, and this single string instrument, and the Ashtabhuja Perumal, which we do not find as an iconography elsewhere, but in the Pallava architecture and in Cambodia. So all these ones that are very striking, I have come across. Maybe in future, I would like to come up with 15 of more comparisons. And and with this, I thank Regional Research Library once again for giving me this opportunity. Because if I start in Tamil, I can fully converse in Tamil. If I start in English, I can fully converse in English. Being bilingual is a very big problem. So I think I ended up completing the entire talk in English. I just realized. So, and we have some pictures in the entrance, so we can have a look at the displays. So majority of the comparisons that I have done, it's put up as photographs outside. And picture postcards along with stamps and a post box. It's a working post box, so you can write a letter to your loved one. It's just to commemorate the event. So coming to a library, sending a postcard, these are these have become rarities nowadays. So I think this can lighten up serious events like this. So you're free to pick a postcard of your choice and post it to your loved ones. Thank you. Thanks once again for listening patiently to this talk. Thank you. Yeah, it's open for discussion. I forgot to mention. Sure. Thank you. Similarities are standard because so much is done from here. Just wondering, so this because dramatic differences in the way that there's one different Yeah, the drastic difference, one is when we realize the structure and style. Majority of the constructions there either sandstone or laterite. And here we have the harder rocks like granite and charnocite. Though tiles in the Koran, right in the pyramid, are sandstone structures. Later, we only come across a lot of granite and charnocite structures which are very strong. And there is like Bantesri, which are very thickly carved. That was possible only because of sandstone, which is very easy to chisel. Like, that is a difference because the concept, the iconography of the same Shiva or Karaikal Ammaiyar had gone from here to there. The patterns are different. It's very easy to chisel. That is one thing. So carvings are more like as if it's carved in wood in many places. It's very intricate. And secondly, the style also. There's a local flavor to it. When we talk about Skanda, the Murugan, there is a cap which is very unique to the Kerala region. And even to Ashtabija Perumal, he comes with the facial features, the expressions. And since there is this king concept also. Many of the images, some are like Vishnu, some are like Surya Varman the second. So maybe that had also, that influence is more in the Southeast Asian region. So that these two are the differences that come to mind.
Really, it was a wonderful lecture. Thank you.
Thank you.
Like Uncle is a cluster where you can see group of people and clusters and facilities to actually set them.
So Angkor Wat is not a cluster. Angkor Wat is it's a single temple, but Angkor temples, as they call it, city of Sindhi. So if you ask the travel purpose, it's like you get a house family working with it. So like you have the bottom band and there is a place called Phi, which is in the Thailand Cambodian border, which is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Actually, there's a long litigation between Thailand and Cambodia who should own the temple kind of. Now it's in Cambodia. It's another beautiful temple. It has a native Karaikal Ammaiyar also. And in the southern side, the Angkor Wat, so the sites. Sam Bangkok, as I mentioned, that is the earliest style of Khmer architecture. So that is another region. But one more point we need to understand here is since Cambodia was open to art, food, and many of the sculptures were taken to other countries, even today, when there is a stable government or when there is no civil war, many of the beautiful pieces of Khmer art are found throughout the museums of the world. And even in the National Museum of Phnom Penh and the museum in Sindhi, and even in the museums in Angkor Bay, in Battambang, you have good pieces, good sculptures. But still, you come across the lintels, you have the temple structure, you can see the pediment. Along with the travel to the temples, the museums again. So I think that a good study is incomplete without a museum visit, and sadly, it is spread all over the world. So many of the, as I mentioned this in Angkor Bore, there is a beautiful Krishna Govardhana entire setup. Because again, it was in this Gumi Museum in France and Paris. Actually, they had a very huge collection. In fact, a full hall of Khmer artifacts. And then in museums in the United States. So we have the fine sculptures outside. But definitely in Cambodia, these are the clusters. Angkor region and the Battambang, Sambor Preko, Kokit again. Kokit, I was shown this Garuda and the kind of peacock. So these two are not in Kokir actually. So you can come across the temples. Yes,
So, Raja, well did that from the various point of view. Like,
yes, yes.
something. How this is going on with you. So, that's another level of thing. That was saying.
So
Some people so that they were Krishna. So, first and foremost, that that what was the driving force of the geography in the southern part of India, and then also the similar climes which we have done studies involving the Kamima region, Palu, and since of course over part of from the Vice Presidency till 1946. From that area, involved in Bali, Indonesia, and other region, we have done extensive studies about it. So the first is the usually last laterite stone and sandstone is sculptures are used for routine. Statues will be sandstone become the statues of the Murtis. This big language. Whereas Conjugal temple and our things we go to Shiva and other certain structures are in the lateral store. Then the temples are not. So the thing what is there is a probability in the school that the sculptures drawn out and then workmanship is something larger than what we consider. Because the people will understand that they don't use much in that stone. I'm sure that what is the stone locally available there. Probably I think of sandstone area. Sandstone. I didn't know I went to the Bhutan River area. Second thing is what so I must I think that I'm taking the correct observation. Not just to put it complex, we should do complex of the world. There may be a complex which is equivalent to this. It's not in India. In terms of size and detailing, you can match these size. The massive people are saying that what is excavated so far is not in so unexcavated. That's what studies are showing. So that there is a strong motive. When even the tourists go, you know that you are from South India or Tamil and all. First, we make this Karaikal Ammaiyar, Karaikal Ammaiyar and all. So I was stunned at the moment I said, did I hear it properly? So then Karaikal Ammaiyar, then I got a literature, I bought a book, she showed me. She knows that I've been interested in Karaikal Ammaiyar. It's a phenomenal comparison, even before. But the motive I am talking about it, I will draw the comparison between within India, northeastern region, partly Assam and mostly Manipur. You the people are Gangetic or the normal Indian origin, what you tell and haplotype or the genetically neither South Indian nor the typical North Indian. But we are Manipur people are the Thai that the group of people. So the requires the blood, haplogroup, everything different. But the Vaishnavism which they are following, the kind of names they have adapted, the first Vaishnavite in this country. But they don't accept the guys in Banaras and anywhere else as a Vaishnavites. So that means they're actually what we call as a elite domination. That means when very less number of people very influential people, basically from the priestly class, second thing are the merchant and traders, and one influence the king. Ultimately, unless the king is converted, and then such a temples are not possible. Like in Manipur, and the motive behind this force has to be there. People have to be employed. So, because that I have seen in Cambodia also, it already look like that means it's not a still migration, like from North India to South India, from Iran to India. We are not talking probably this is an influencing elite migration. Like this number of British guys came from Europe, and we are almost in European in our outlook and language and culture, that's everything. But then the influence is long lasting and very enormous. So then most likely the priestly class combination maintain comes that, and probably with so many people having a blood mix. If the blood mix is very less, but the cultural influence is phenomenal. Coming to the last observation, you must have seen that in after group of there is a statue of the leper king. You must have seen it is called the leper king. I checked about this because of the way, what is his importance. So they said he was very instrumental in constructing this temple. There's somebody made a claim. The Someetharan is being mentioned, Neverman is being mentioned. Equally, the leper king is trying to be an important. Look at the leper king. And there's some names also written. So I was actually, I was doing similar studies with reference to Konark and other temples which worship the Surya or the temples like Gayaka in the Gaya and Riva, Arasavalli in Andhra Pradesh, Konark in Orissa, and then Parasuram side, and Surya temple in the Tanjore side. If you see that there is a common element which I found that all these temples were guided by the fear of leprosy. That means, yes, psychological fear which was basically driving more than anything else, which we got so many evidence how the Gayarka in India was financed by Chola kings, how the Narasimha, this in of the Narasimha Deva, who was the Chola Ganga, king who built the Konark temple of all the person. And again, for some temple, he is called Nadu and Narasimha Deva and all, he found the leprosy cure. And then you know there is a king called in Chola, which is called Krimi from the Chola. His name is Krimi from the Chola. If you roughly translate virus affected or bacteria affected Chola. So then you Surinath temple, that Stava Purana. Then the driving force for constructing Surinath temple, the quoting Agastya is basically leprosy cure. Leprosy cure connected with that. So I was trying to further this because of course my area of focus is something different. I didn't pursue it further. Probably my thing is that iconographic detail and similarly and secondly, what are the type of migration? Both difference everywhere and everywhere. If you go to Bali in Indonesia, unbelievable similarity with the Orissa region, terminology, food, culture, something totally different. So I say to sum it up, the largest perspective from the point of view of the people went and they taken survey for Grantha when the Pallavas made an attempt to Sanskrit and Grantha. There was a reaction in Tamil Nadu, we went to the and other thing. That is the reason we survived. Those who did not go for a meteorology type of thing only in Kerala and other places they lost. So there is some was involved, but I don't know whether there was any conflict with reference to language, and because there is some convenience portion also is there. So what is the role played by Chola and what is the role played by Pallava? Whether it's a priestly dominated and Vaishnavite or the traders dominated, because particularly Karaikal Ammaiyar community story is always repeated again and again, merchant family, females only involved in this kind of thing. So to sum it up, it's a very phenomenal study you have done. I'm very happy and feeling proud of you.
Thank you, sir. So definitely, I think this priestly class, that observation was indeed, it was definitely and it was the construction, whether we take it in Tamil Nadu, it is the elite architecture, it's the elite driven iconography that we are talking about, and settlements there are not many, as you say, there could have been, but we don't have literary evidences which gives solid evidence about a settlement, a big settlement in the Southeast Asian region. And again, another thing that you mentioned, influence from the Orissa region, so some iconographies, when we take the time period, so whether it is the Deities, Vishnu, about the mass release, so they the architecture of the regions in Orissa. So definitely, when we take the reference, it's early dated. That is one thing.
So kind of a Euro design. So the making is down later on, so around in semicircular, evolved, so then the flat photographs.
And the stone that sir was talking about, definitely the availability. It was only sandstone that was available. Angkor Wat produced so many thousands and thousands of tons of sandstone that they in fact quarried from nearby Kulen Mountains. Kulen Mountains are 40 kilometers away from the site, Angkor Wat site. Now, these many tons of sandstone, we don't know. So, there again, the availability only. So, it was all sandstone and lava because of the availability there. So, that is the reason why we had night for the sections of those are the main big then use guidance. Provide some, for example, the ones that we visit in places like Mount Angkor in South, we have stones, we have hard stones, but majorly temple construction it was sandstone and laterite because of the availability. That is one thing.
Thank you very much. So this is lovely talk. What I forgot to mention to you is this talk and exhibition is a part of the Madras Week celebrations or Madras Month celebrations. And I was really concerned whether we'll be able to do this time because of the shifting of the library. And I'm happy, and I want to thank Sherin for extending this. So I mean, to have having agreed to talk and also listen to the exhibition music. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
And I'm sure Kesmita will turn happy in his growth because he was always insisting that we should do this. Really remember him this day. Thank you for joining us. I'm so happy. And I also want to thank Dr. Vasanti, Department of Archaeology. I'm so happy we're here today. Thank you. Thank you all. And this exhibition is Saturday from 10 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. Thank you. Thank you very much.